And we're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Star Trek The Next Generation Identity Crisis is the episode that we're talking about today. And I nominate Gary to do the episode summary.
I was afraid you're going to ask me to do that.
Yes, I think
it's like a punishment, isn't it?
It is.
It's not. How is it a punishment? I'll do it. I'm ready to do the episode summary if you guys.
I'll do it for the next one. I promise.
All right.
Ooh.
That's what I said last time.
I mean, that's what I say every week for like 6 months, and then I eventually do it once. But
all right. So this is a very easy one.
Yeah, I would have taken this one, Gary. It's quick.
This is the episode where Geordi is basically fucked. I don't know how else to say it. I apologize to the censors. It is.
I mean,
ouch.
Shall I take it over?
Yeah, I mean, that's not the most accurate summary.
He's turning into another species, and if the Enterprise crew cannot save him in time, he is lost to humanity. His humanity is gone. I think there is no better description of what Geordi's state in this episode is than that. It's the only way to describe it. So anyways, when you get past the horror of that, you see the crew of the Enterprise working tirelessly, and by some miracle of science and Dr. Crusher's hunches, we get a wonderful solution. And just like 2 sentences away from Geordi leaving forever, he's saved by his longtime friend and colleague, whose name I can't remember at the moment. But that's what happens in the episode. Was that a good summary?
Episode summary ever.
That was a good summary.
It is a very straightforward episode. There's a very simple problem, and they solve it, and that's it.
Yeah, totally.
Wow. So this can't get any better now. So we just hung up and done.
But yeah. So what did you think? Yes, no, maybe, and then just leave. So.
I know that if I could share your personal conversations with me, Gary, I know you're delighted about this episode because it made your day brighter.
It did. You know what? The funny thing is, I never had so much fun watching an episode of TNG that I had this morning, because I think this year, and ever since started Discovery came out in the air, I just didn't watch anything else, and it was a real revelation. It was a real joy to watch something that was rich in story.
I like
Susanna Layton, by the way. What's her name.
That's it.
So it was really cool. Yeah. I had it was just before work. I had like 2 hours, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna watch it because there's a bit of a blizzard going on in England right now, so I had to go into work earlier, and I had time, and I watched it, and I think from now on I'm gonna do that every day.
At any point in your day, did you imagine that you were transforming into this cool alien that's invisible basically to humans?
I was transforming back to my original self, which I was really really excited about.
I like that better. That's a good transformation.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about right now.
That's like when you're going about your day after a scary episode, I think about things like that. I don't know. So the first time I ever saw this episode, it freaked me out because I remember I as a kid, I don't know how you guys were, but I was very imaginative, and I feel like I'm still a very imaginative adult. So when I'm seeing things for the first time, it gives me a shock. And that's all I could think about during this episode was, oh my God, Geordi's in so much trouble right now. Like, he's just...
Well, as a child, I saw this episode for the first time as a kid as well. This is when I was initially watching Voyager and TNG as a kid with my mom. I don't remember. The only thing I really remember is how he uses the holodeck in like such an awesome way.
Oh yeah, that was really cool.
And that's what really stood out to me. It's like, oh my god, he took a photograph and then he made it into the holodeck, and then he's deleting shapes and checking out the shadows and everything. And I thought that was absolutely amazing.
And we already know Geordi's awesome at the holodeck, because 90% of the holodeck episodes have Geordi in them.
Well, okay, so that's
feels
that's
right.
that's one thing. It would seem that every time he has a problem, he kind of runs to the holodeck, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, but wouldn't you? I mean,
just one Leo Brahms.
I would totally do the same thing. I feel like
season 4 is a lot of Geordi hiding out in the holodeck trying to fix something. But
you're at work and you run into a problem. What's better, going to like a computer panel and just looking at information, or like going to the holodeck and seeing it in 3 dimensions? And like you could fail like a bunch of times too, which would be interesting if you're doing engine simulations.
he just opens up a bunch of panels in the holodeck in the Leo Brahms, doesn't he?
Yeah, but this is actually a really good example how it translates to Trekkies, and how people can actually have a problem and they go into Star Trek, they watch an episode or two, and they somehow find an answer, even if they don't if they don't know what they're looking for, but they find an answer. It's I don't know, I'm seeing too much into it, but
it's allegorical. That's one of the best things. Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have this huge deja vu impression right now. This whole conversation, I feel like, I don't know. Sometimes I get these.
Has it like happened?
Yeah, everyone gets these deja vu. You feel like you've already lived.
It maybe happened in the mirror universe before.
It's possible that all of our atoms are in some kind of weird soup when they get, like, you know how they say pictures steal your soul? Like maybe all of our atoms.
Okay, well that's it for me.
YouTube has stolen your soul.
I would like to keep what's left of my soul and leave you now.
Hold on, I have a Harry Potter wand here somewhere. I can cast a Protego spell. There, Protego Maxima. We're all good. Anyways,
this is getting out of order.
I know.
So may I have a question for both of you?
Go ahead.
This is actually, when I was watching the episode, I kind of had this, and I do apologize if I go into an off track now. Do you think this episode was a base in a sense of Geordi's transformation to the episode Threshold from Voyager?
I don't know that episode.
Oh my god.
Well, lucky you. That's very interesting. I don't think so. I don't think they thought back to this episode necessarily. Without spoiling too much, Threshold involves a certain member of the Voyager crew kind of turning into a sort of lizard being.
Creature, yeah.
Yeah. And so there's a similar kind of metamorphosis happening. I don't think so. It is similar in the way it's a human turning into something else, but I don't think it's necessarily the.
I haven't seen Threshold, but I mean this kind of like other being taking over who you are, Kailash. It's like something that I feel like.
Well, that's different. That's your girlfriend, doing something kind of weird to you, but.
I think I see more echoes in that Star Trek Discovery arc than I do, which is kind of neat that it's kind of like that. Not as radical though. This like creature, it's so interesting, the science behind it, because one can imagine going out into space. There's this episode that I really hate, the Riker, the season 3, I think it's the season 3 ending, where Riker has a flashback of the whole season after he gets like
season 2.
Shades of Grey or something. I forget about it. I forget which one.
Shades of Grey.
Shades of Grey. I don't hate it, I love it, but I didn't give it a high rating. It was like a low ranking Star Trek.
0.
Yeah.
0. That would quite honestly be the only 0 I would give.
I don't remember. I did go.
I wouldn't give 0, but I think that was the only episode that I watched only once.
But it reminded me.
I have a general rule, is that any show that ever does a clip show an episode clip show, that episode gets a 0. I don't care how it's done. I don't care how well they execute it. It's a clip show. It shouldn't exist.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't think Doctor Who has ever done a clip show, as far as I know. But Star Trek is famous for
No,
it.
I don't recall. I mean, at least from the new Who series, no, I don't recall any episodes.
I'm watching The Office at the moment, which is a sitcom that. So The Office, not UK, The Office US. This is a generally modern sitcom. This thing came out, after the year 2000. I don't understand why there was a clip show in like season 6. I have no understanding.
Sometimes you have to let the audience know all the best things about a show.
It's offensive. I hate
it. People do it on YouTube now. I think there's already clip shows for Star Trek Discovery season 1 that are going to be happening or are already happening. I haven't done a search for it, but watch.
Oh my god!
You guys should do a clip show about Star Trek Discovery season 1. I'll feature it on my.
We are talking about Star Trek: The Next Generation. Forget about Discovery.
We are talking about Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Well,
I'm trying to talk about Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah,
I really liked all the parts of this episode that had to do with Geordi. They were pretty solid. He was pretty good. I think his reaction when Dr. Crusher reveals that he's next, like after they watch Sylvia, was it?
Susanna.
They watch Susanna deteriorate. It's been a week since I've seen this episode.
That was actually a really powerful scene. I remember when I watched in the morning, and I never really imagined that happening. I mean, I don't really remember the episode that much. I mean, I remember Geordi will transform, but when I watched it in the morning, I was like, wow, that Geordi basically gave a lecture to Captain Picard, like, hey, what would you do if you were me in my case? You wouldn't just sit around and just wait for the solution. You would just go after it. And you could see that, I seen that facial impression in Picard, like, wow, it's like, he challenges me at this point. I really like that fact that Geordi was just like, he respected Picard, and still he went against his recommendation, like, yo, I know you want me the best, but you would do the same if you were in my boots. So that was a really powerful scene. I really looked up to Geordi about in that time. It's like, wow, that was powerful.
I agree.
Did you guys notice the lighting in this episode was like extra crispy and dark? I know there was something about it. It was like really, really nice.
Yeah.
But it was a bright TNG episode.
I absolutely agree with both of you guys. Geordi's execution and the writing of his dialogue is really great. I think his performance is really good in this episode. And a testament to what you're saying about how you don't even remember what his friend's name is. I found poor actress. I don't even know her name, but I found her performance to be kind of weak.
I'm going to the internet right now.
No, I found like her performance to be kind of weak, and there's an extra on the bridge as well.
Marion Plunkett, sorry to disturb.
There you go. Okay, and there's an ensign on the bridge that also gives she's got a few lines interacting with, I think, the captain, and I found her performance a little weak as well.
I think because we're dealing with one of LeVar Burton's most, kind of like interesting performances. Like the center of attention was definitely him. I liked the actress and how she kind of like was freaked out the whole time. But I do agree that like it's a week later and I can't remember her, and that's not
well. What I got was that
good sign.
What I got was that her transformation and the way she dealt with it was all a little, how should I say it, extreme. Like she was overacting a little, whereas LeVar Burton did it with finesse. Like you saw him kind of transform in the holodeck as he was discovering it.
He was shaking when he was when he was holding her.
Yeah, and then when he's completely transformed,
like he was shaking. Like you could see through this like really dark costume that was like hardly all you saw was eyes and like veins running across there, and you could see like I don't know.
But that was almost like real emotion there, so it wasn't like acting. That was almost like emotion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, LeVar Burton comes from a really great background as far as a performer. He did. Have you guys seen what's it called? Roots.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched that?
I
Yeah.
haven't.
You gotta go see Roots. It's the journey of
Both
an African.
Roots with LeVar Burton and the new one as well.
Oh, I haven't seen the new one.
The one is well.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, watch
But,
the LeVar Burton one for sure, Gary.
Yeah,
It's
no,
really good. But he comes from he gives I think he won the Oscar for that. He better have won the Oscar for that. I'm not sure, but
I see what you mean.
That kind of a
in the sense
performance.
that, so in Roots, because it deals with slavery and like it's essentially about slavery and about this Kunta Kinte and how he dealt with it. There's not just kind of facial acting. There's a lot of body language involved. Because sometimes as a slave, well, you can't really say anything or you're too afraid, and so it's based on how you move and the gestures, and I think that really paid off in this episode because, as you guys say, when he's hugging his friend at the end, like Susanna, in the end, you can really see the there's like such a mix of emotions in his essentially faceless face.
I found my notes.
Ooh, the man has notes.
I have notes too.
I wrote
Not
down.
much, but I have.
I wrote down Nurse Ogawa because I think she's being more prominent now, and so I don't know if this is the first. I don't think this is the first time we see her, but I was like, oh, there's Nurse Ogawa. So she was in this episode.
Well, basically, she noticed something about Susanna's condition, and that's how Dr. Grusha got involved, and they started to work on the problem.
I remember that there was this interesting danger when the show first aired where I thought, are we actually going to lose LeVar Burton? Because there was always rumors in the, you know how now you go on Twitter and you see all the rumors there. Before they were in magazines or word of mouth. So the internet still existed. It just didn't exist like it does now. And one of the rumors was that LeVar Burton was going to leave the show this season. And so I remember being like, oh, is this how they're going to do it? This is how it's going to happen. LeVar Burton's leaving the show. He's going to turn into this weird creature.
Well, it would have been okay. It's great that LeVar Burton got to stay, in all the seasons, and that we saw him in the movies and everything. But just when creating a series, I think there should be an interesting balance to find between what Discovery's doing. Discovery essentially kills off 20 characters in a season. Maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe 10. And TNG killed off maybe one character in its 7th season run.
Yeah, one main bridge character. It's true.
I think maybe there would be an interesting way to kind of I don't know, find a way to do something between that. So not kill off so many people as it makes death generic, but to still have a sense of threat. Because ultimately, when you watch TNG or any show from that era, you're never afraid for your heroes. You know they're gonna live. You know you're gonna find a solution. It doesn't take away from the thrill of the moment, but you know that they're gonna be fine.
Right.
If you had a doubt in the sense that at any moment they really could just kill off a character and say, "Look, this happens. We're in space. We're dealing with unknown stuff." And we couldn't get him back, and he's gone. It would add something to the show, I think.
I think
Agree.
I think Star Trek: The Next Generation's actors would have loved that, but I know that they had a tough time with producers back then. Everyone was locked or glued into the episodic model of television. They thought this is the way to do it. So
you disagree, Gary? Is that what you said?
No, I said absolutely agree.
Oh,
with you, what you just said. No.
Okay.
Why would I disagree?
Well, I don't know. You can.
I mean, yeah,
You
I
would-
can, but I'm not going.
Gary, when you serve aboard the Enterprise, you disagree when you feel like it. Now
I
set
will.
course for Alpha Omega 175231. 5.
There's only 4 lights there.
Engage.
So we're just quoting anything now. Kayla.
Your Kalos is way better than my Kalos. It's you have the best Kalos. That was
one of two of his lines and just do a voiceover.
I guess ultimately like this episode is it a rewatchable one? Like is this one of the ones that when you're like going through and you're like, oh, I'm gonna watch this episode again? Like would you rewatch it if it weren't for the fact that you had to watch it for the show?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say yes too.
It's a bit of a trap episode, to be honest, though, because I keep on remembering that scene in the holodeck that I just talked about,
which is a great moment
which is a great moment, and I keep on thinking, oh, the way he uses the technology is fantastic and what have you. And then I also love the costumes and the makeup that they have when they're completely transformed. So I would go back to that, and I say it's a trap because I would automatically click on the episode like, oh, I love this one. And then when you're watching it, it's pretty slow. And like the slow pace of it works very well in the beginning. Like you get the teaser, then you get the kind of intrigue building up, like what's happening? Why are these officers going away? And then eventually when Susanna transforms, the slow pace of it just kind of drags the episode down a little. I find you come to a point where essentially the second half, or maybe the middle of it, not very much happens until Geordi discovers what's going on, and then he transforms. And maybe that's just me, but
no,
I don't know. I didn't really notice that when I was watching. I mean, I guess what you mean, but because there was too many dialogues in the episode in terms of Geordi and Susanna talking a lot with each other, and then at one point we seen Susanna's dealing with the effects of the transformation, and then started to have a more conversation regarding that one, and it was just like talks and nothing really happening. But at the same time, it was something happening. So it was. I get what you mean, but I didn't really. I still enjoyed. It wasn't really slow for me. I like the dialogue.
I like the actress. I finally remembered where I saw her. It was in a movie called The Squid and the Whale, and she's she's really good in that movie. Yeah, so let's do, since I didn't come prepared with the names of the characters and actresses, I would like to highlight Marianne Plunkett now on Starfleet Boy, and I'll give you a brief history of her her experience, her films or whatever, and see if there's any. She's been on a lot of Law and Order. Do you guys watch Law and Order?
No.
Oh my goodness. Okay. She's also been on LA Law. She was on that before Star Trek, and Matlock, which I watched. So I must have seen her on Matlock because I used to love that show, but I don't remember her performance. And then The Squid and the Whales, what I remember from her from, which is in 2005. It's a good movie. And then that's it. Do you see a movie or a show called The Good Wife?
I heard about it.
I know about it because CBS keeps throwing it in our face. They promoted CBS All Access with the spin-off The Good Fight and Discovery. So, but I've never seen it. That's not. My mother watched it and didn't like it.
She was on House of Cards, and she was Evelyn. If you guys watch that show,
nope.
House of Cards, the original, like UK back in the day, or House of Cards?
Really good point. 2013 to 2014, chapter 21.
So that's the most recent one.
Yep. I forgot there's a UK one that the American one is based on.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. She's a very small character in the first season. She's essentially used kind of as a plot device to show how devious our two protagonists are. So essentially, the wife of Kevin Spacey's character. So there's Frank Underwood and Claire Underwood. Claire Underwood essentially has everyone, or has a lot of people fired from where she's working, but she has said character Evelyn fire everyone in her place. So
I
she
remember
has,
that. Okay.
she has to deal with firing everyone with the emotional trauma, and then Claire just fires her in the end.
So congratulations to Marianne Plunkett. You have had quite the career.
No, that was
And,
a very emotional scene in House of Cards. I will say that
Very
was
nice.
a good moment.
So she overdid it though, in your opinion and mine a little bit. I think she was a little too much in this episode too. Sorry,
Well, this
sorry,
was
Miss Plunkett. I'm
maybe
so sorry.
maybe early in her career. Maybe was it? I don't know.
No, I mean there's so many reasons why you play a character. You make choices, and actors don't have to have all successful choices. Like I think Marianne Plunkett would appreciate a good honest critique of her her past work.
Well, we can be nice and say that it's we can be nice and say that it's not because she acted badly. It's because in comparison to all of the great performances by Sir Patrick Stewart and LeVar Burton,
Yes, you can't.
she can't rival with the.
No one can. She's very the two powerhouses in the room would not anyone would look like they're not doing as great. It's true.
So, talking about unsuccessful choices, and going back to the episode,
Oh,
there was a
Discovery.
No, going back to this episode, Next Generation. There was a conversation.
Gary, thank you for being the nanny on the show.
I mean, seems like silly to do it today.
Go.
So there was a really interesting conversation between Susanna and Geordi in the 10 Forward. And basically they started to talk about their relation back then, how they met each other, and how Susanna gave so many advice to Geordi romantically. And I was kind of thinking during the episode, like, if they were like so cool with each other, why didn't just they indulge themselves to each other or with each other?
Wait, what are you asking?
So it would. I think it would be it would have been nice because both of them were single bachelors.
Oh my goodness.
It was. I mean, there was like slight indication that Susanna was kind of like nursing Geordi, and Geordi was like, they were like two adults, single adults, and they liked each other, and they have a history behind them, and
I think
it would have been nice to see some sort of a romantic relationship, blooming out from this little conversation.
I think it's very clear that the writers have something else in mind for Geordi because he doesn't get the best romances.
What happened with Sean? He just froze.
I think he did freeze. Whoa.
Oh my god. That's like a really good smile.
Yeah, it is a really good smile. Are you there, Sean? Oh no. Look. Are you there? Oh look, he just went logo.
Oh, that might not be a good thing then.
We are having a technical difficulty. But the cool thing is, if he's still recording, we can hear everything that he's saying when he when we bring him back, and he'll hear everything we're saying.
Hopefully, we're not gonna be like a swear talk or something.
I'm gonna re-invite him now. Check on the tube. Sometimes this happens. I mean, what we're doing is a technical marvel, if you think about it. Like
connecting like, free part of the globe.
The globe, yeah. It's like Star Trek level stuff here. It's kind of cool.
It is.
I found the memory alpha entry here, and so when Sean comes back, maybe I will go ahead and read to you guys some interesting things from that.
Regarding to this episode.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I have a track core as well up there.
Oh, no.
we can cross-reference it.
Oh yeah, it's a good way to do it. I hear clicking.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yay!
Yay!
Hello.
Hello.
Ooh.
It wasn't a bandwidth problem. It was just my internet just cut off.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
and,
I know. Been there many
yeah.
times.
I'm gonna change my my internet provider.
You were under attack by Romulan mercenaries since Montreal is like in. If we were to transpose a map of the Federation, Montreal would be close to Romulus.
Oh my god. So where am I then?
Maybe,
That's-
yeah, maybe. I mean,
You're on the Klingon frontier, Gary,
Alright.
okay.
and I'm safely in the middle.
I have to look for Kailash.
No, you're not. You're not safely in the middle. That's not fair. You're in
Wow.
like the Cardassian.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, I could be deep space. I'm down to be in deep space now.
You're not in.
You know
deep
what? I
space.
like that.
You're in a
No, but
Cardassian prison. There you go.
Oh wow!
Wow.
There are 4 lights.
Throw me into the DMZ instead.
Oh my goodness. Sean does not want me to be safe at Starfleet Command, but that's where I actually.
I'm out
That's
here risking my life, getting my internet hacked.
That's true. It's true. Well, Romulus didn't claim that attack. It was just Romulan mercenaries, so we're okay.
All right.
Hey, so this is the portion of the show where we go to Memory Alpha and Trek Core and compare notes.
Oh my god, yes. Let's do that. Let's do that.
I have a few notes that essentially do not review the episode, but they just things that I noticed, and so they're kind of useless, I suppose. But
No. Go on. You first then.
okay,
I think we should just like go round robin, like each of us say one.
That's a good thing. All right.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll do my first note. I noticed Geordi pulls out his tricorder with mad skills at one moment. There's this moment where he's in engineering and he wants to scan something. He pulls out his instead of just pulling his tricorder out that way, he kind of flips it and he's I don't know.
Oh,
He's got this Wild Wild West vibe to him as he pulls it out. And I was like, what? But it was awesome.
I agree. I actually don't remember that one, but I do remember other instances. And Data does some really good ones too. Data's got like some of the best tricorder opening technique. That's awesome. All right, do you want to go Trek Core first or Memory Alpha?
No, I have a small observation as well. I don't know if any of you noticed, but the shuttlecraft in the planet, it didn't have a frontal windows, a rear window. It didn't come with the windshield.
Oh, whoa! I did not notice that.
It was without the windshield.
What I did notice was the very comfortable pilot's chair. That's all I noticed.
But I do not want to stuck in that shuttlecraft for like 2 weeks because that's just not suitable for that sort of thing.
Yeah, I have to say that the thought of traveling in a shuttlecraft a long distance is a scary idea to me. I wouldn't be able to cut it I would have to just always be on my ship. I'd be that kind of captain. I'm not going down to the planet. You go, number one.
So
enjoy yourself.
Interesting shuttle. It's got like a lazy boy pilot chair, but no windshield, no windscreens.
Yeah. Well, you don't need one.
No, you don't.
Micro cameras on the outside.
Yeah, no, you don't. But it's a shuttle. It's nice to have a window.
Yeah. Or not.
maybe this one had a force field generator instead of a window. Who knows?
It was more of a pod, right? I don't remember. It was very small.
Yeah, the shuttle pod. A small one.
Was this the Elbaz? Do you know? That's the only one that I
don't
know.
think that was coming from the Enterprise. I think it was a totally different one.
That's right. You're right. It was the one that the other guy
from the Victory.
Think about how crazy that is. Also, how scary.
Was it the Cousteau? There was a Cousteau somewhere.
Or the Cousteau, one of those, yes. Or the Cousteau or the Victory. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Wait, it's USS Victory is the ship, but I think there's a shuttle with Cousteau written on it at some point.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Very nice. An homage to an awesome person. So So it says here in the scene set in the year 2362, crew member. Oh, that was a neat part of the episode was the video footage or whatever the recorded footage that they had. I thought it was done in a nice.
It was a nice way to start the episode as well because you get that kind of wait a minute, he's wearing red.
Yeah, and so crew members of the USS Victory are correctly seen wearing the old season 1 and 2 Starfleet uniforms. LaForge wearing command red again and using the early Dustbuster Type 2 phaser. LaForge additionally wears an older version of his visor. So they really went hardcore for that.
That's very
scene.
interesting. Cool. It means that they didn't consider season 2 a retcon. They considered it more of an evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't dismiss or ignore what they did in season 1. They consider that being the past.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's nice. It's nice that they accept their flaws and grow and don't just try to brush them under the rug.
I do like that too. That's true. What shows do that?
Oh, come on.
Discovery.
We talked about it like 15 times in this channel.
Well, Star Trek Discovery is doing something totally weird. It's a new phenomenon. I think we're still analyzing it, if I'm honest on my part. I for one, we're gonna have a Discovery moment on Starfleet Boys TNG Discovery.
We've already had 15.
I know it's invaded our Star Trek discussions, so it's okay. I'm sorry.
It's because it's the current show.
It's true. I apologize to those in the audience who only tune into these to hear about TNG, but there is that component of Starfleet Boy where we have to be inclusive of all tracks.
Well, if a Kelvin Timeline film just came out, we would probably be interspersing, notes from that as well. So.
It's true. So
I've got another note if you want, unless you want to read something from somewhere.
No, let's go. It's your turn.
Okay, so I noticed that Riker asks about how the UV scanner's gonna work, and then he asks if Data can do Data. Could you make a UV? It's not a scanner, but it's whatever.
UV light.
It's the UV light, whatever kind of take. Essentially, he wants to modify a basic flashlight into a UV light. That's what he wants to do, right?
Hmm.
And so Riker asks him if he can do it, and I found Data's yes to be kind of obnoxious. It's like, yes, of course I can do that. Obviously, it's a basic, simple task. and then there's a follow-up scene because it cuts to them in engineering. Data's fiddling on his thing. Riker comes up and says, "How long is it going to take?" And he says, "Come on, 2 minutes. It's done."
That's really funny.
And funny thing is, the scene only lasts 50 seconds, so it didn't take him 2 minutes. It took him 50 seconds.
Follow up on that note. I don't know if any of you noticed that, but I just couldn't get a hang of it. Why did Data get a desk and a chair in the engineering where there was plenty of space to do these sort of small mechanical changes in the flashlight? He got a separate chair on a desk just for this sort of maneuver. Why? Or is it just me nitpicking now? I don't know.
No, I don't know. I think that's true. I was trying to find the UV light. I was trying to do a Google search for the UV light, but on Mission Log, they had this picture I couldn't resist of LeVar Burton. Did they name? Do you guys remember them naming the species in the show? I don't think they did in the episode, right? They just kept calling them the creatures.
No, I don't think they named them.
Probably just the inhabitants of Tashanan 3 or whatever it is.
Could we have the honor? Has anyone named him? Could we name them something? I don't know.
Well, I mean, considering the series just came out, Black Lightning seems appropriate, but
I mean, that is an awesome. I mean, if you modified this costume, that would actually be an awesome Black Lightning costume.
He does look a little like Savitar, but
is that from the Flash, right?
Yeah, I mean,
oh my gosh. With today's special effect, would there be lightning bolts emanating from Geordi? I wonder.
I don't know. Actually, I'll tell you what. I did notice that this is a serious observation. I noticed that the makeup on the fingers wasn't really convincing. They tried to glue like the three middle fingers together and make it into one big finger, but it didn't convince me. It really did look like they just stuck these fingers together and that was it. Didn't feel natural.
It was really tough. I think it was really tough even back then. A lot of the makeup effects, even though they're brilliant, looking for the most part, they always failed sort of at fingers because what you had to do like combinations of weird things to create like different kinds of pads and whatever, and it's only whatever you can do with actual human fingers. But now with CG, like the Crepusculans in Star Trek Discovery, going back to Star Trek Discovery,
Oh my
looked
god.
like
Guys, focus.
So I say that they need to do a hardcore remastering of TNG. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I don't
absolutely
I
not.
don't
But
agree. I don't really feel that way.
no, without talking about a certain show in particular, yes. Nowadays we have modern technology and the CGI is advanced, which means I suppose these kind of modifications, be it on faces or hands or whatever, feet, or if you wanted to show like a torso of a certain just another humanoid species, you could probably do some extensive modifications due to like thanks to CGI.
Yeah.
That back in the day they could only do with practical effects. And
It was tough to not make everything. And then Star Trek: The Next Generation does a really cool in-universe explanation of why there's so many humanoid species in our galaxy, which I
Yeah,
thought
should be
kind of
cool
like
episode to talk about.
yeah,
too.
it's gonna be a cool episode. The command of the USS Ares was previously offered to Riker upon the retirement of her captain, as seen in the Icarus Factor. So I guess the USS Ares was mentioned in this episode. Was it one of the earlier people that turned into those beings?
yes,
I'm not. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
One of them came from a space station, and the other one came from the USS Ares. I think that's it.
It's cool. It's a dense episode.
I forget, but there's that third one that also blew up as he was trying to enter the orbit of the planet, but I forgot
Yeah.
where that one came from. It is pretty hardcore to think about that three of them, well, one of them is dead and two of them they'll never be able to get back.
Mm-hmm.
Because they make a point of saying they have families and friends and
Mm-hmm.
like this other guy's a family man and he blows up in orbit.
I mean, this episode really does show the dangers of working in outer space, and even the crew of the Enterprise isn't immune to, although they've solved it, thank goodness. But even the crew there is up to that danger. It says here that other species that propagate by infusing other species with their DNA and transforming them include the Terrazians, the Kobali, and the Lokek.
Do those names ring any bells to you?
No, not to me.
Which one? I think the Kobali, but
Yeah,
I'm not
Koba-
sure. It does ring,
Kobali.
but I think it's from maybe from DS9 or
No,
Voyager.
it's from Voyager.
Hmm.
You would remember them straight away. They have like a kind of Neelix feel to them, makeup wise. Kind of purple though.
I can't wait to start watching Voyager
Voyager's very interesting.
Mhm.
in the later seasons. I see the Kobali, they have a really cool makeup design. Very nice.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
yeah, I know.
So, yeah, you recognize them immediately once you see them.
Yeah, Lindsay Ballard.
What else do you have in your notes?
Do you have anything, Gary? I have more, but
No, I mean I have the Trekcore article up here, but the one thing that I do wanted to mention about the episode, there was a scene in the sick bay when Data was researching and stuff, and Dr. Crusher went over Data like, you're really afraid of Geordi, you really really care about him, and it's like, yeah, it's like scientific curiosity, but it drives me to actually solve the problem. What's happening with him? That was a really sweet scene. I think
Yeah.
that was I'm not sure if this was the first time actually when we got to see Data really getting engaged with his friend, but that was a really sweet scene to to witness, and even Dr. Crusher had her smile up on her face, like, wow. That was a sweet moment. Well done for Brent Spiner for if he ever listens to this podcast. But honestly, that was a sweet scene.
It's a shame that Counselor Troy was nowhere near anyone this episode. She was just not present. She might have been able to help Geordi deal with the emotions.
I didn't miss her at all in this episode.
Well, no, you don't actually notice that she's not there. Yeah, it's very true.
Well, that's because Marina just makes sure that her presence is felt.
Oh, of course.
even when she's not there.
I'll tell you what, I did find it kind of funny because initially when they're on the planet and they're all got flashlights and floating them around, I got no problem with humans with flashlights, but Worf kind of looked ridiculous. He's this big warrior, right? And he's got this little flashlight kind of. Anyway.
On Enterprise, they have little helmet lights, which I think I'm surprised that TNG never. I think they do maybe actually in later seasons. I have a vague memory that they have a headgear with a light on the side, but
in Voyager, it's a bit of a spoiler for you, but they got a lights in the wrist, so they have a wrist light.
Nice.
That's actually really handy and doesn't really necessarily take. Yeah, just like Buzz Lightyear.
Hold on, Iron Man. I mean.
I can't believe we all made that noise.
Yeah, it's just
that's really
the Marvel Cinematic Universe isn't fixed, isn't it?
That's funny.
I have a question for you guys because I noticed this and I thought maybe I'm too nitpicky like Gary, but they go looking for Geordi. So there's like, who is it? Is it? I think it's Data, Riker, and maybe Worf. They go to the holodeck and look for Geordi. And then so immediately they come in and they see that, he's running the program with all of the trees and the structure and everything. And Riker says, search the structure, sends Worf off. Worf finds his clothes. And I can't help thinking, why don't they just say computer in program?
Yeah.
Just shut it down. You'll see if he's there or not. And you'll see his clothes on the ground.
That's true.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
Or computer isolate life signs of Geordi LaForge and or something like that, just to
whatever remained from him.
They can't isolate him. That's why they went there.
He was already transformed, right? He looked like the Predator from the Predator movies, like the special effect. I don't know if you guys caught that. It was like a cool. I think that was like the way to depict invisible characters in movies for a while after Predator did it, but I liked it. I did think that the scene where he hijacks the transporter, the outline that we saw looked like it was kind of like this other creature, but maybe it was the transformation, he hadn't turned into the creature thing yet. So
it was halfway there because you see that when he transports, you actually like just before they cut to the
that's right.
You see kind of what his face looks like, and you can recognize him, but he's halfway transformed. So I think that's what they were trying to show with the invisibility. He's still kind of humanoid. Well, he's still kind of human.
Human, right. Michael Piller remarked, "It was a very complicated, complex production that the director did a terrific job on. It had scenes within scenes, and I was very happy with the show. It may not have been one of the best scripts we wrote, but it's a great example of how those guys in production can really turn out a hell of a product." And then the director said, that was Winrick Colby recalled, "That was an interesting show and a lot of work. First of all, LeVar Burton is a hell of an actor, and it's a lot of fun working with him, even though I'm sure there was a lot of pain and agony on his part going into that suit." Oh my God.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, we didn't make things any easier for him because we had to light everything with black light. So we're kind of restricted camera-wise to do what we wanted to do because of all those tremendous black light units. It was a hell of a set, but a technical nightmare. But everybody seems to be happy about it. It's true. I do feel like that's present in the episode, what they're saying.
In Trekcore, just a little addition that what you said production-wise, It says in the first draft, Brandon Braga had a huge number of transformed aliens down on the surface, but Geordi wouldn't go through the process. It was designed more as a horror story, which is kind of interesting as well if you think about it. What
It's
could
a
have
different
been?
vision, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This episode was nominated for an Emmy Award for Outstanding Achievement in Makeup for a Series.
Well, there you go. So, I mean, fingers aside.
So it wasn't just a boring episode, you know.
It wasn't boring
It
at
wasn't
all.
boring at all.
No, just to clarify, I say
Yeah.
it's slow paced because I think that maybe they could have made the I don't know, maybe they could have added some more tension to the transformation. Maybe they could have made it a little more dynamic. That being said, it works and it is a good episode nonetheless.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoy it. So
I enjoyed it too. It made my morning.
It did. I'm like, that was a delightful thing to hear about. I'm glad you didn't mind too much that I shared about it. Here's a behind the scenes of that light you were talking about.
there he goes.
That Data modifies.
That's Michael Westmore?
No, that I
No,
think
hang on.
that might be
Blackman.
the director. I don't know.
And so you can see that Brent Spiner is looking.
Let's see what the
Data's looking at Riker off camera, thinking, "Yes, I modified it. Come on, leave me alone."
Get on with it.
Actually, I think he's doing his Data's high alert face. You know when he's like,
You know, I'm kind of following that what you said about the Riker and Data little crash in the bridge. Like, yeah, I can do that. Maybe that's why he actually wanted the desk and the chair in the engineering.
Oh,
like,
that's why he
okay,
left.
it's gonna be a small process, but I'm gonna show you I can do that. You know, and I need a chair for it and a desk.
that's really funny. Here's a behind the scenes look at what those suits look like. And all of this is from Memory Alpha, by the way, to give credit where credit is.
And just to mention something, because I think that's the two guy. In Trekkerprise it says the two LED jockey who eventually became NBC variety show host fill the ultraviolet suits. So that's like two disc jockey.
Those are two radio personalities, I guess.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Well, that's what it says in yeah.
That's got to be them. Look, they've got the mics and everything. Jonathan Frakes looks great.
He looks very happy.
Yeah, he's like in his off-duty uniform there.
Well, maybe he doesn't have water in the paper glass, paper cup or something.
is that possible?
Straight observation. I didn't know they covered up the seats.
Yeah,
when
take
they
a
were
look at
filming.
that. Got to protect those sets. They got to look great on film.
And they will, and they are.
I will not sit on a dusty chair.
Dusted so number one.
Dusted so. Wow, that was good. Should we do you have any more notes, guys? Should we like come to the ratings portion of the show, the final reveal? It's the final countdown.
See you guys. Goddamn.
May I have just only one thing to just kind of not brag on, just thinking about the holodeck scene, and Sean, you mentioned how interesting it is to actually use the technology and the pictures and actually analyzing what was there, what was behind, and I think that's kind of interesting if you think about photos as well. I don't know if that was the aspect of the show when they writing the whole episode, but when you think about photos and you take your photo and you have the still image, and sometimes you just wonder what the hell was behind, you know, something's covering up something important, and I think it was kind of interesting allegory as well to kind of, you know, you will have the technology one day, maybe one day you will be able to extrapolate what was behind that picture. I think at one point someone or somewhere they did it. I'm not sure if was in Star Trek, but definitely in Into Darkness they did something similar. Like they had the pictures itself, and you know they went into zooming and using all the technical gadgets to.
there's a really neat technology in photography right now called light field technology, which kind of which could kind of be like the basis for a technology like that. If you combine a camera that does light field photography along with a sensor unit that can maybe scan what an environment looks like somehow and record that information onto the photograph, you could then later create a rendering where you
3D
can
model
see,
of it.
yeah, where you can almost see behind
Now you see, and this is the stuff
subject.
that they don't really talk about. Like Star Trek influenced a lot of things, and we all think about the mobile communicator, the Google Glass, and the iPads and stuff. But this is one of the groundbreaking as well.
It is amazing.
It will.
Well, I'm just saying if you combine that technology that exists with maybe a technology that doesn't exist yet, you could have something like that. But like, you know, it is possible, I believe.
That's amazing because I mean, in this episode, it's not really a photograph; it's a video. So I suppose it's easier in the sense that I mean, you must have some sort of sense of perspective, because the camera's panning around. But then with just like a still photograph, it must be so much more complicated. But it is amazing. They're already working kind of on that.
Yeah, they do it in Blade Runner, in the Ridley Scott original Blade Runner. Deckard, and I like the way that the effect is, you know, the expression of it is in the movie. I don't know if you remember, but Deckard, enhance field, whatever. He listened to
this old.
I wish Harrison Ford would come on Star Trek. It would be amazing if we could get Harrison Ford on Star Trek Discovery.
But you might gonna. Oh gosh, again. Now, there we go again. We might gonna get like a, you know, Millennium Falcon goes through the mycelial network and ends up in Discovery and like, hey, you not belong to this universe. Get back to your place.
They would have Harrison Ford play like a mundane character, like, you know, put him in so much makeup that we can't recognize. Like,
you don't necessarily have to, because if you remember, I mean, and I'm do apologize to bring this along, but Liam Neeson was in the Orville, so, and he didn't really have that much makeup.
I like how you say Liam Neeson. I like Liam Neeson way better. That's an odd.
Liam, poor guy.
Liam Neeson. Sorry.
Yeah.
Either way, but he was in the Orville and he didn't have that much makeup, and he thank God he was another depressing character in that one.
Yeah, how come Liam Neeson's not on Star Trek also? I mean, come on, Star Trek. Get these guys.
Only one step away. I mean, he was in Star Wars, so.
He was a friend of he's a friend of Seth MacFarlane's.
Yes.
And because he wasn't even credited, his cameo was just.
He wasn't. Yeah, he was just there.
Yeah.
Gary, I'll ask this again on our Star Trek Discovery discussion. Maybe we don't answer it here. We answer it on that discussion if we remember this question. But for both of you, the question is, if Seth excuse me, remnants of the cold. If Seth MacFarlane were to come aboard as showrunner of Star Trek Discovery, would that be awesome news or bad news?
I would love that.
I knew you were going to say that.
I would love that, and I'll tell you why. Because I think he would just leave Star Trek Discovery behind. That's happened. And then start something new again with Star Trek, and that would be awesome.
You meant leave the Orville behind?
No,
or he could do
Discovery
both.
Behind. No, I mean he will do Star Trek Orville. There you go. Problem solved. I can see Sean like, no, that's not gonna happen.
Please do not blend Discovery and the Orville together. Oh God,
I'm in that. You know, I'm in that camp as well. I'm like, let the Orville be the Orville.
Let the Orville be the Orville, and let Discovery be Discovery. And both shows have their flaws. Both shows have their qualities and their pros and cons, and let them grow.
It's just funny that it's just funny that the Orville is a part of the conversation so often, which gives you
especially when we're talking about TNG, because the Orville is probably the
heavily influenced by TNG.
It is the closest thing to TNG since TNG itself, honestly.
And it's the closest thing to Star Trek ever since Into Darkness. So,
I'll go first.
What is Star Trek?
It's true.
I mean, DS9, Voyager, and TNG are pretty much the same era. They're all very different representations of what Star Trek is.
Mm-hmm.
Voyager represents more TOS, Deep Space Nine is kind of its own thing, and I suppose Discovery represents more Deep Space Nine, and
its own thing.
TNG is its own thing, and the
Yeah.
Orville represents TNG. There's three very distinct versions of what Star Trek could be.
Yeah.
I could see Discovery if it just looked different, being in the TOS landscape. I mean, just story and like just on the basis of what is happening on the show, there's really no problem like with putting it where it is and like the spore drive and all that stuff. Like I think the world of Star Trek is big enough at that point in its history that like crazy stuff can happen and it's not a big deal to someone on the Enterprise. By the way, you have to say something for that to be prominent. You have to, while you're doing that, you have to do the theme song or something.
Oh, I have to. I can't
Wait, no, I can click you. Hold on. I'm gonna make you the highlight.
You can make the primary, yeah.
Yes, there we go. Now do it.
No, I can do my USS Shinjo flyby. There you go.
Wow, that's like a huge model.
It is. It's pretty big. It's I mean,
is it to scale? Like if
is
you
it the same size as the? Is it the same?
If you pulled up your Enterprise model,
I am offended. You have not watched my video because then you.
No, I haven't seen it yet. Oh my god!
Is it the same size as the Franklin? Actually,
I'll see it tonight.
Okay, so pretty much. It's smaller, but it is comparable, I suppose.
Yeah.
Then again, the Franklin is supposed to be a much smaller ship. I've got the thing bloody upside down.
And it's a different universe. The Franklin's a different universe.
Well, come on.
Well, I'll tell you what.
No, it's not. Actually,
none of this counts because it's not TNG.
Indeed. I see their four lights.
Okay, so everyone, including myself, will go and watch your video. And Gary, there's like 5 data files that I haven't seen.
Oh my god! I you know what, the last one that I did with Gullivac, that I think I enjoyed the most.
Well, I also have to keep up with the Cardassian.
Yeah. Just before we go into what is it?
Ratings.
Ratings, yes. There's one behind the scenes fact as well that I think it's interesting to address. It says the script was taken from a slush pile of spec script by fan writer Timothy D. Haas. So it was a fan story, as it turned out, is it?
That's cool.
That's awesome.
So it wasn't just a normal story that someone came up with; it was a fan story.
That's cool. That's awesome. Congratulations to
Timothy D. Haas.
That's like somehow gonna travel back in time to the actual 80s or 90s when it aired, and he'll see a vision in his dream of this YouTube video, and he'll be like, "Whoa."
And I remember you did that sometimes, but I would like to take the liberty and just say if Timothy De Haas ever gonna listen to this podcast, he would love to listen to his story about how he created the script and stuff. So just get in touch with Starfleet Boy, please.
Or you, or any of us.
Or any of us, yes.
We're all equipped to do an interview. You may
Not me.
It may not be what you expect.
Not me. I mean, you can get in touch with me, and I'll just transfer you to these guys.
You're the worst. I see that the light is diminishing in Montreal.
It is. It is. I could turn the light on.
And Gary's.
That's me, likewise.
I'm a hypocrite because I got up to get the ships. I could get up to turn the light on.
Oh, are you wearing Adidas tracksuit pants?
Yes.
I'm looking for.
I've gone full Slav.
I'm obsessed with a track. I need a Trekkie. And if Adidas could partner with Star Trek and make a Trekkie, I would want that even more.
And I got a Batman shirt.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
I'm kind of Batman.
Are you wearing Star Trek appropriate outfit, Gary?
Actually, I have a Super Mario.
I have Darth. I have Darth Vader slippers if anyone cares.
That's
And
awesome.
I have a wristband says Time Lord, so just to keep in time, keeping.
Very nice, very nice. I have a badge on my Starfleet security hat. This is the official hat of this is what Starfleet security wears off duty at Starfleet headquarters. It's very nice. I don't know if you see how it has this like feature back here. It's very military feature, little flap.
So now we're just promoting our clothes.
Maybe. Do you think the Seahawks would survive in does football survive in Star Trek? Is there any evidence that like the teams from today are still around?
I would
American
assume because Deep Space Nine features baseball,
Oh, that's true.
and not only just baseball, there's like a London team.
Oh, that's right.
So I would assume many sports did survive, but then again, American football, so maybe not.
Wow.
Sucker.
All right. On that note, it's time to give our ratings, and I shall go first. And then since since I did the summary, I actually can go last, but I'm going to be gracious and go first. And I'll let you guys decide who goes next after that. So I give this episode a 6.
I think I know. Well, that's amazing. I was gonna give it a 6 as well.
Oh wow.
Mm.
No, it's Gary's turn. It's gonna
Wow,
be
I've been thinking to give a little bit of a higher rating, but not as high as I originally wanted. So I'm gonna go with an 8.
Okay.
Wow, I predicted the 8. Yes. All right. So then I think it's fair to say with like the Starfleet boy math, we can average this episode out to a 6.5. Do you guys
Counted
agree? Branded so. We're gonna eventually have a database where you can look up all the ratings, and then that way we don't have to remember them ever.
Good lord! And we can do like
You mean that
series season breakdown, like how much a season was in terms of points.
you mean that way people don't actually need to watch or listen to us? They don't need to waste their time. All they need to do is just look at the ratings and be like,
we already have a formula. So if you tune into the last 15 minutes of all of our episodes, that's when we like that's when we talk about
That's
like
what we're track. I can be just focused on that.
The rest of the episode is a journey, a discovery, a casual and informal conversation.
It's the journey that counts, not the destination. Unless the destination is a rating.
Unless you just want another rating, you can go to the last 15 minutes. It's pretty standard on every Starfleet. I do trick a couple times. I started the episode out with the ratings, but no one liked that format.
No.
Like I thought it was fun.
Because during the conversation you can actually change your perspective.
Yeah,
and it happened with me this time because I wanted to give originally 9, but
dear Lord.
But you pointed out a couple of other things, so I was like, okay, actually it's it's valid.
Very good, very good. It was fun catching up with you guys. And to the audience, thank you for tuning in. You're seeing this 2 weeks later from when we actually recorded it, almost 2 weeks later, because Starfleet Boy went on an unofficial hiatus because Seattle was cray. Woo! It was awesome. And I did not have my technology available that I thought I would have to be able to do all the production that I need to do, but I'm back.
Not everyone has a holodeck handy, I mean.
Or
a UV light.
Yeah, I took the captain's yacht, and I thought it was equipped, but now I'm gonna have to reprimand a couple of cadets that are in charge of the captain's yacht, and then go about my day. And on that note, please be sure to comment, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and like or dislike this video as you choose.
Choose your pain.
And don't forget to visit.
That was you this time.
Wow. And
This is something. It's a random thing.
And I'll give Trek on the Tube a plug, but I'm not going to give Gary a plug because he was mean to me. No, I'm just kidding. Trek on the Tube and Trekkerprise, and go watch their videos, because that's exactly what I'm going to do. And live long and prosper, and see you guys next time.